Today I'm sharing with you how to make a chocolate orange mead. Let's get started. So this is a mead recipe I've been developing for a while. It was inspired by my friend Mandi from Faywood Mead. I saw her video on a chocolate orange and I thought it was really cool. And it's also inspired by my wife who loves chocolate oranges themselves, the actual food or candy, whatever you want to call it. If you've never had a chocolate orange, it is exactly what it sounds like. It is this candy that is often consumed at Christmas time for me, but a candy that is a little chocolate orange, an orange that is made of chocolate that tastes like chocolate orange. I don't know the best way to explain it. Anyways, they come in these little like small bite-sized pieces. Really interesting, really good. I wanted to make a mead version of this, again, inspired by those things, and here we are. So the recipe on screen is the mead itself. It's very simple to make. It requires mostly just a honey that has some maybe fruity elements to it, preferably tropically fruity elements or like orange blossom honey, orange zest, cacao nibs, and we'll talk about how to treat those. And I used lactose in mine, and you don't have to, but it helps in a lot of ways. So you're gonna start by making a traditional mead. Highly recommend a tropical fruited honey, but then also a tropically sort of yeast. So the Lalvin QA23 is what I ended up landing on. It has some tropical fruit characteristics that are popping out from it, which is very helpful. And so that's what I used for mine. Alternatively, you can probably use like Lalvin K1V1116, which is also a tropical fruity kind of brew, or yeast, I should say. You're gonna mix up your honey, water, yeast to your starting point. I got mine as a starting point of 1.080. You could do this lower ABV or higher ABV, but mine was 1080 starting gravity. We then went ahead and pitched our yeast. We pitched our yeast nutrient. I did a staggered nutrient schedule over the course of a couple days, and then we let it go through the fermentation. Fermentation was like 3 weeks on this one. Once it was done fermenting, we moved it into a new container. We racked it into a new container, and this is where we add our flavors. So I felt like the cacao nibs were gonna be probably the hardest thing to add, that we're gonna need the most time, because orange zest generally moves faster, which we'll talk about that in a moment. So I went ahead and bought my cacao nibs. I put them on a baking sheet. We took our oven to a 350 degrees Fahrenheit and we toasted the cacao nibs. This helps to extract more flavor from them and really kind of gives it that baked kind of brownie-esque smell and flavor. So that's what we did, 350 for 15 minutes. We pulled them out, we let them cool, put them in a muslin bag, and we added that to our brew. From there, they sat for like 2 or 3 weeks. It took some time for them to really extract all the flavors that I wanted. We pulled that out and we added I missed a step, sorry. We also, in the start of all this, we stabilized it so that there would be no further re-fermentation. Important thing, stabilize the brew and then go to these steps. After we pull the cacao nibs out, we added our orange zest to it, which allowed us to, I think it was like 2 or 3, or a orange per gallon of zest. We put it in another bag, we put it in there so it was removable, and let that sit. That extracted the flavor of the orange, so we have the chocolate and the orange thus far. It was probably 6 or 7 days on the zest, but these times may vary based on what ingredient you're using. So just do lots of taste testing. Pulled out the orange zest, and it was time to add our honey to backsweeten lightly and lactose. So that's what we did. We added honey and lactose to our brew, and from there we mixed it all up. The lactose needed a couple days to settle. So it kind of mixes in, and then it kind of, some of it falls to the bottom and other things fall to the bottom. So that's what we did. We let it set for a couple more days. We made sure there was no further fermentation on this, and then we went ahead and bottled it. So it was all bottled, and I figured why would I just be the only one to taste test this? And I sent it off to my friend Mandi, who was the inspiration for a lot of this. So let's jump to the tasting with Mandi. Hello, Mandi. We are making I've made a chocolate orange mead for you. Are you ready to try it?
Yes, I'm so excited.
And we're ready to try it for the second time because I realized I forgot to hit my recording button. So we're doing this twice, which is why our glasses are full. So exciting realization there. So Mandi, let's dive right in, and then we're gonna do this inverse of the first time, and we'll talk about your chocolate orange mead that you made and maybe some comparisons. So what do you get on the nose of this mead after you poured it? What were some of your notes you get?
Definitely a nice, strong orange character,
Uh-huh.
I would say. I mean, you get it all.
Yeah.
It's like just a nice orange, honey. Those are like the first things that you pull. But there is a chocolate essence.
Mm-hmm. Now that we've already tasted it, spoiler, so again, this is kind of a weird tasting, but now that you know there's lactose in it, do you feel like that's apparent on the nose in any manner? Like, has lactose, or has it only been on the taste?
I think more on the taste. I mean,
I don't think lactose has like necessarily a smell, but I wondered if it would push out more chocolate aromatics, maybe? I don't know. That's my thought.
Yeah, well, and I think that it could also, like, it could also mute the brightness of the citrus as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because it does just leave this sort of creamy blanket on everything.
Yeah.
So I think it wouldn't only affect the palate, it could also affect the aroma.
Okay. Well, let's taste it and give me your total notes.
Okay.
Welcome to YouTube Magic, where we're faking that this is the first time we tasted it. Whoa! When we just had it 5 minutes ago and I forgot to record. So Mandi's doing a great job of it. Wow. So what do you get from this?
Okay. So the first notes that you get is going to be just this nice, like, real orange.
Mm-hmm.
Not a funky orange. It's just like that. Oh my gosh, what's the word I'm trying to use right now?
Like the orange juicy kind of.
It's that nice, like, fresh orange. Yeah.
Yeah, the zest. The zest of an orange in orange juice, as we've kind of talked about a little bit, is vastly different. It's the orange zest sticks around a whole lot longer in a brew than orange juice. Orange juice itself is like good, but I think it doesn't age well. And zest tends to age really well.
Yeah, and it gives you more of a true orange flavor. Mm-hmm. Like when you bite into an orange, that's the flavor that you want to pull into your beverage. And zest, I think, is the best way to do it.
And I think the oils in orange zest are really what push that. Honestly, like if you bite into an orange peel, it's a terrible experience. But that is like the really bright, in your face orange that, like, when you bottle it up, that's the most expressive orange character than the juice. The juice itself is good, but it's not as prominent.
Well, it's like you think about baking, and so many desserts and things, they don't even use the orange juice half the time. It's like you just like use the zest.
Yeah.
That you want to zest the entire thing, and that brings so much flavor.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
I definitely think this one, the zest is super helpful, but it's very orange forward, chocolate later, and in a actual chocolate orange, it's reversed. It's like, chocolate first, orange is in there, but it's definitely like more of the end character.
It's true, yeah. The chocolate just kind of sits underneath the orange. Mm-hmm. And I'd say the lactose just kind of gives this nice little smooth blankie, a little cloud over everything.
Yeah, it does. Like, I like what you said earlier. It mutes some of the brightness of the orange, but I think that's important here because if this was like a mimosa where it's bright orange, that's not going to get what you want. You don't want like acidic orange. You want the bright orange that's muted. So I think the lactose that's a really good way of saying it controls it. So
yeah.
So with yours, you told me that you have followed a similar path. We basically went down the same path minus lactose introduction.
Yeah.
And I think you could do. I don't remember tasting years, but we did a tasting of it like years ago, so it's been a hot minute.
Yeah,
but,
it was years ago.
I don't remember an exact comparison, but I think I can say with some certainty that the lactose is very helpful to this brew.
Mm-hmm.
I think for people who are lactose intolerant or whatever, don't want to do that, you can definitely still get away with not adding lactose. I think it will subtly impact your brew in mouthfeel and then the control of the orange, I would say. But it'd still be a quality brew. I mean, you've made yours and it was a quality brew. So lactose is not the killer of it at the end of the day.
No, definitely not. And I feel like if you are lactose intolerant, a potential substitution might be a vanilla bean.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you get the vanilla character, but it does have kind of a similar effect.
Yeah.
Not quite as effective as lactose, but
yeah.
It's
well, I really wish maybe this is the charge for you to make another batch of it. We can do a comparison because I'd be curious. I got more bottles. It'd be fun to see how it goes. But the cool thing about this brew is stupid easy to make. Highly recommend that people use a honey that has some tropically floral, already fruity notes to it. That way you have a base to build upon. Don't use something that's going to be like dark wildflower, buckwheat, avocado blossom. Like anything like that would not go well with this brew. So that's what I'd recommend.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think those honeys would definitely overpower this.
Yeah.
Because what you're looking for is orange and chocolate, and then whatever honey you use, you want to add to those flavors, not detract from them. You don't want to
right.
make it all about that honey, which it could very easily become all about that honey.
Yeah. Well, I do like that this brew is simple. Make it traditional. Throw in zest, throw in the cacao nibs, and throw in some lactose. And there's some balancing agents in that way with your sweetness and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's pretty dang simple. So I have a recipe card somewhere up here, and I have a video link to Mandi's recipe she made as well. So I'd highly recommend you go and watch that video at Faywood Mead. She's been making her YouTube appearance again. She took a small hiatus, and she's back for more. So you should go over and check it out, and subscribe, and do all the things to support her. But Mandi, thank you for tasting this.
Thank you for involving me in this. This was a pleasure. Honestly, I'm excited to drink the rest of this precious liquid gold later.
Well, maybe I'll dig around on your channel and we'll find another one, and I'll just brew another one of your recipes. That'll be fun.
Ooh, fun.
Cool. Mm-hmm. All right, go check out
Faywood
Mead, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Bye.